Very good evening, all of you. Today we are here online for the virtual seminar on leveraging machine learning and AI for financial analysis by Mr. Nitish Jain. And here we are in the Tech Edge series of WIRC. So before starting the seminar, we will go for the ICI motto. I'll request everyone to place your hand on your heart.
येष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति येष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you, all of you. So I welcome again all the participants and the speaker and the coordinator on this virtual tech series of WIRC, wherein we are going to discuss the leveraging machine learning and AI for financial analysis. WIRC is already taking various seminars like Tech Edge series. Recently, we had a sub-regional conference at Surat on the particular topic of only technology. 2 days conference, whole day conference for only the topic of technology. And this is how we are trying to highlight the use of technology and trying that all the participants, all the members would may take the maximum benefit of using technology in their practice. And anyhow, we are also having a fear that technology is taking over many of our tasks. So that we should be like riding the technology and take benefit that how much more we can do using technology, what new things we can do. And for that, we have with us Mr. Nitish Jain. And I'll request CA Dinesh Ji, coordinator, to kindly introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Piyush. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, very learned faculty, Mr. Nitish Jain. He's IIT Bombay postgraduate in microelectronics. He's also certified as a chartered financial analyst and a financial risk management. He's CFA and FRM. Currently, he's managing director of Perpetual Block, a Swiss AI company. He has got 15 years of experience in AI, finance, and risk management. His experience includes building generative AI application in finance and healthcare, setting up ML-based real-time payments fraud detection engine. He has built independent price verification and risk management across equity, interest, and rate derivatives for global markets trading desk. He has also been instrumental in building AI-based clinical trial prediction engine to predict pharma drugs clinical trials outcome and equity research in US biotech. In addition to that, he is author of multiple patents on machine learning, quantitative finance, and healthcare. We have had 2 earlier webinars under the Tech Edge banner on AI. The first was on the knowledge management. The second was on legal drafting, and now we come up with this very interesting webinar on financial analysis. As chartered accountants, I think this is area very close to our heart. And then we have none other than Nitish Jain, who is not only an engineer, but also a CFA. So it's going to be, we are looking forward to a very interesting and insightful session by Nitish. And we welcome you, Nitish, on behalf of WARC. And it's over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh sir. Thank you for this opportunity first. And secondly, thanks a lot for the warm introduction. Good evening, Piyush ji. Good evening, Arpit ji. Good evening to all the members of the WIRC, respected CA colleagues from the fraternity. I admire a lot because of my 16 years of work experience, nearly 10 to 12 years, I've had chartered accountant as my reporting managers. So, and they have played a very substantial role in my grooming, mentoring, and it's one fraternity, right? I admire the most from the professional point of view, as well as what the fraternity does as a collective. An example of which is this meeting, and I'm really and you guys are I don't know a lot of you, but taking one example, Dinesh sir is a embodiment of you never learn to stop, you never stop to learn, right? And I was seeing that sir started practicing his CA practice or his first job a few years before I was born. So sir is still continuing. Sir has 16 this one, and so this is a again, thanks a lot for this opportunity. I'm very glad to present to you this knowledge sharing opportunity. And as Richard Feynman once said that if you want to learn something fastest, right, so the best way is to teach it, and best way is to share it with others, right? And and that's my whole motto. And so I'm no expert, right? I have worked in this field. I have been working with Dinesh sir on a few professional assignments, right? So I am a practitioner of machine learning and data science field for past 6-7 years, and in the field of generative AI for past 6 months to a year, right? Yeah, so I'll be sharing all the learnings I've had, right? And what I think could be relevant for the CA fraternity and practitioners, right? Okay. And as I said, I am no expert, right? So and one more thing, one more disclaimer I want to give, right? So we'll be discussing so the use cases, few of the use cases which I'll discuss, we will be doing live analysis of few companies con calls and transcripts, right, their annual reports. That is no way a recommendation or my or my commentary on those companies. These are only for learning purposes. They are not any stock recommendations, buy, sell, right? And that's just for learning purpose. And I have taken those company names because you would find it relevant, because you can relate it to it, right? Yeah. So with this, if you can all see my screen, I would like to start today's presentation.
Yes, Nitish, is visible.
Yeah, visible, sir. Your screen is visible, no problem, sir. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, today's topic, as Dinesh sir told, is leveraging machine learning and generative AI for financial analysis. And the tool which we will be using, is GPT, and specifically GPT Plus. I know it's a paid subscription as of now, okay, but I want to showcase the capabilities of it, as well as I will also mention few resources which have the same kind of capabilities, right, on a free basis, right? Yeah. So, yeah, but I'll be using GPT plus, right? That again is no recommendation or no for OpenAI or ChatGPT, right? It's just the tool. I mean, today's session, it's just I'm going to show the capabilities and the possibilities of what all is possible, right, with GPT, and how can we use these tools, right, generative AI based tools to enhance our practice and profession, right? So so I will be so this is divided into 5 kind of modules. I'll talk about the data pipeline, right? How as a person on a personal basis, or whether you're a 1-person practice or a 5-person practice, or let's say 1,000 accountant practice, data is the whole fuel that powers any machine learning algorithms, right? And what is the importance of having correct data pipeline in place, which ensures that you are able to capture the correct data at time, right? Because any algorithm is dependent, its output is dependent upon the data quality. Then we'll talk about 2 types of machine learning techniques. One is supervised, another one is unsupervised. We'll take few case studies herein, right? Right. So we'll talk about loan acceptance and rejection case study, right, where we'll have the data, as well as we'll talk about the what interest rate, right, to charge, and this based upon the past data. We'll talk about a case study where from the account receivables, we'll try to from our past data, we'll try to predict whether this account receivable will be able to get this money from our customers, right? We'll build a machine learning based algorithm on a live basis on this data set. We'll talk about a time series where we will analyze, we'll decompose a time series which has in this particular case study has a passenger data for a particular mode of transport, let's say a flight, or right, and we'll identify what are the trends, is there any seasonality, and then on the last part, right, we'll talk about textual analysis, right? So these are all, so the first first three items, first 4 items are more on the numerical side, right? And the final part, we'll talk about textual analysis, like doing analysis on the unstructured data, right, which are your call transcripts, earnings call, and from the MDA section of the annual reports, and we'll try to gauge the risk in terms of corporate risk, government risk, environment related risk, and technology, specifically AI related risk. And also we'll try to evaluate few companies from their going concern basis, like whether they are going to turn bankrupt or not. And all of this will do on the GPT advanced plugin or tool, right? One part which I have not entered here, we will also analyze the stock market performance, right? And and that we will do for Indian stock markets, right? And in this Indian stock market, I will show few tools, right, which are outside of GPT, such as Google Finance, how you can monitor the whole market, right? How you can set up your screeners using Google Finance, and same data, if time permits, will upload to GPT and get a summary, right? So with this agenda, I would like to start. Any feedback, Dinesh sir, Piyush ji?
Sir, I think it is going great.
Thank you.
It is rightly structured, sir. It will be helpful for the participants.
Okay. Thank you very much with that. Right. So we dive into the first part, right, which is data pipeline. Okay. So before that, what I would just briefly, I know many of you are aware, but briefly touching on, what is data science and AI, right? So data science is art and science of solving real world problems and making data driven decision, which a lot of you take. And it has three core aspects. One is mathematical understanding, right, which is mastery of mathematical and statistical techniques. Second, you can do it on a small data set, but how do you scale it? For that, you require coding and technology understanding. And third and most important is that domain understanding, domain knowledge, right? So which in your case is the word of finance and accounting, and which is also important. So what has really happened with these tools like GPT, etc., is that they have made the second part, right, coding and technology part, very democratized, right? So you don't need data scientists or coders to run algorithms for you, right? And you need them, right? But few basics you can do on your own, right? And what has become more and more important is your ability to apply domain knowledge, your ability to identify what are the use cases, what are the algorithms that will help you, to solve problems which we are going to see. Yeah. So AI, artificial intelligence, is the subset of data science, which is the science and engineering part. And what it means is that if you look at the word artificial intelligence, is all about making machines intelligence, right? So the ultimate aim of the AI technology founders was to make machines so smart that the human being at the end of it is not able to differentiate whether this output or whether this particular processing has been done by a human or by a machine. And we can see that as years go by, right, a lot of it is becoming close, because a lot of the content which we read, we are not able to differentiate whether it is generated by a GPT or a human. In fact, there was one publication few days before where they asked people who are expert at it, right, authors, whether they are able to differentiate whether this content is generated by GPT or a human being. They were able to detect only with a 35% accuracy. So you can see that we are very near to that stage, right, where, and that thing is called, when you have the ultimate level, it is called artificial general intelligence, AGI, which still far away, right? And so my whole point of this is that now the technology with GPT has become so much democratized that you don't need to fear about the code or the heavy statistics part. You need to have good understanding of your domain, which CA is a CA profession, is an embodiment of your expertise in finance and accounting, right? So branches of AI are, one, you have rule-based AI, which was something 20 years before, where you have predefined rules and logic on what to do if your input is this, which we see in a lot of cases. For example, your income tax slabs are rule-based, right? If your salary is this is the slab, this is the slab. Then you have machine learning, right? Machine learning, enable machine to learn from the data, and there are two branches of it, supervised and unsupervised. Then you have deep learning and neural networks, which are complex. So there you are trying to mimic how a human brain works, which is through the network of neurons connected to each other, right? So ultimately, scientists also identifies that if they have to make machines as much smarter as human being, they have to process the information in the same manner as humans do. That is why you see deep learning and neural networks, right? So this is again, data science is multidisciplinary, right? You have statistics, you have visualization, you have good pattern recognition, you have good AI, you have importance of databases and processing, right? And as you can see, its life cycle, first you need to be inquisitive, have a problem solving attitude, analyze the business, identify a business strategy, have domain knowledge, and whatever algorithm you have done, you need to present it to this one. So this is the life cycle. So it starts with understanding of the business. If you are setting up a machine learning function in your organization, it is very important, right? Because you don't want to do this for one time. You want to make this whole thing scalable, reproducible, and be independent of you, right? So you start with business understanding, what problem you are solving. You need to identify what data you require to solve that problem. How will you acquire that data one time, and how that data will be acquired on a continuous ongoing basis. You then model it, okay? And in the model, there are different parts, which I'll come to next slide. And then once you identify, right, whether this model is working correctly or not in terms of accuracy, right, in terms of, whether whatever predictions you are able to make are explained by a logic, or are backed by a logic which is understandable and tenable to human beings, right, in your practice, then you deploy that machine learning algorithm in production or in your organization, and you ensure that your data acquisition, your data pipelines are smooth, reproducible, and always running, right? Yeah. So now coming to specifically, specifically the modeling part of it, right? The first thing which you do is, while working on the data science, is that you collect the raw data, you ensure that that data is processed, data is cleaned. So, for many of you, it would be looking like, what is he talking about? That is what we do day in and day out, right? So I know that I'm trying to teach to the choir, right? So yeah, but this is very important, and you guys are very expert at it, very pro at it. Ensure that data is processed and data is clean, right? And because this ensures very much the further steps, right? And then you do a exploratory data analysis. So exploratory data analysis is nothing but identifying, what are the key levers or key variables which control your output. And in this stage, you identify different correlations, you run visualizations, and then you run various machine learning algorithms on it, and you check their accuracy and what is their accuracy and explainability. And then you communicate these findings to the larger organization, you visualize it, and you publish reports about the findings, right? And these reports or these algorithms help you in decision making and help you in coming up with the strategy, right? And this is how, it's like, if this is for you are doing for your own or for your organization, right? You do it on a locally, but if you are someone who is into consulting, or who is into this business where you are your job is to make data products, right? You do this on a more scale, you deploy this on a web-based server, etc., where it throughout the life cycle it collects the data, runs these machine learning algorithms, and do this. So some of the examples being, right, so many of these, when you go into shopping, right, or to Netflix, right? So Netflix, whatever Netflix recommends you or shows you on the first page, that is based upon your history and the recommender system it has built. And that recommender system is based upon many factors, right? Which is based upon your demography, which country are you from, your age, your sex, your Europe, and your past data of whatever you have viewed. Okay, because Netflix wants to serve you what you like, and Netflix ran a competition with prizes worth $1 million, where it invited data scientists from across the world to build these recommender systems, right? And to this, it had provided a training data of what their customers, what their past customers had viewed and liked. Okay, now jumping straight onto algorithms and data, right? So if you see that, data is of two types, as you would have seen that either it can be numerical data or a categorical data, right? So example of numerical data is temperature, right? Or number of children, right? And and this can be either continuous or discrete. So for example, number of children is discrete, but temperature is something which is continuous, because it can be anything, right? From zero, it can be negative as well, to, let's say, 50 degrees, or 40.9 degrees. Then you have categorical data, right? Which can be sometimes ordered, right? Where where there is a logic in the ranking, like there is some intuitive intelligence, for example, short, medium, long, right? Or where it is unordered, like a color, right? What color? Red, green, red, green, yellow, etc., right? And it can be binomial, where it is either 0 or 1, right? Yeah. Why I'm saying this? Because there are different ways to treat this data, and different ways to your algorithm works differently, right? On different kind of data, right? So what machine learning algorithm to use? What are the parameters, right? Which help you to identify the machine learning algorithms which you want to use, right? So basically, what's the size of the data? What's the quality of the data? What's the nature of the data? What are the computational resources you have? What's the urgency of the task, right? So whether it is real-time processing, or it is a batch processing, and most importantly, right, what is the objective of the task, right? So for example, the most commonly occurring task are two types, whether you have regression or classification. So classification is, we'll talk about this in example as well. Classification is just about whether you want to give this guy a loan or not give this guy a loan, whether this debt will turn bad or not, and how you build the algorithm for that. The way you build the algorithm for that is you take the past data, where you have, will go through that, will show you that data, okay? And you are trying to from that data you are trying to so basically learn from the features. So let me show you one example over here. Right? Can all of you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir,
Right.
visible.
So, yeah. So this is one data set, right, which I'm going to talk about. So as you can see that, right. So this is the past data, which is also called training data, right? And to build an algorithm, right, the most important thing is to have the past data, which which goes into your algorithm as a training data, and then you from that data, you can separate it either into test data, like 10% of this data, you can convert it into test data, and rest of it, you convert it into training data. You train an algorithm on the training data and you test it on the test data, and you see how much accurate it is. Okay. So, coming to this is that, so these are the some of the, so this problem is all about, loan approval. Okay. So the two variables, right, or two, y variables which I'm trying to predict over here are whether this loan will be approved or not, and if this loan is approved, what interest rate will be offered. Okay. So the loan, so these are my y variables, also known as, my dependent variables, right? And I'm trying to build a model based upon independent variables. Okay. So now come to think of it, right? For example, if you are in a credit role in a bank, and if you have to give someone a loan, what are the important parameters you look for a person? So things you would look like are age, like how many, how old is this guy? Let's say, for example, this guy is 58 years of age, and with all due respect, right, so he's going to retire in 2 years, right? So his source of income, if it's only from the job related thing, he's not going to have, it does not, we don't have a visibility post 2 years, right? So that is one variable, and these all variables whom using which you are building the algorithm are called independent variable. These are called, some of these variables are age, income, how many years, he has been working from employment years, what is the existing debt, if credit score is available, credit score, number of independent, whether is home ownership is own or a mortgage one, and how much amount he has requested, right? So these are all variables which are my so these all variables are called independent variables with whom I'm building an algorithm, to predict my dependent variables, right? And these dependent variables are loan approval, which is a classification problem. I'm trying to classify whether I should give him a loan or not. And the another variable which I'm trying to predict is called interest rate offered, which is a regression problem where I'm trying to build, where I'm trying to regress upon these numerical variables and numerical independent variables and identify what is the interest rate I should offer to him. Okay. And for this, the data you require is that, wherever the loans is, has approved, I should get the, the interest rate offered to this guy. Okay. Yeah. So I think this was one example, so this is very important when you are building a machine learning algorithm to identify what you are trying to do, right? Whether you are trying to build a classification problem or a regression problem. So classification is predicting, whether this will default or not. So basically where it is, choice between true or false, or, positive or negative. Regression is I'm trying to predict a continuous variable. So, and you can also convert a regression problem into a classification problem. So you can build an algorithm, right, where you're trying to predict the percentage marks which a student will get in 10th standard. And then you can convert this into a classification problem saying that, whether predict whether he'll get first division or not, right? So by converting, 60% marks above 60% into first division, below 60% into second division, right? Or not first division. Okay. I hope, everyone is able to follow me, right? I might be a little slow, but I want to emphasize that, everyone gets this part, because rest of it will be, live analysis on live working of these few of these problems, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So which machine learning algorithm you want to, have is basically you start, right? So before that, I would go into the two different type of machine learning algorithms, which are unsupervised and supervised. Okay. So difference between them is the previous problem, which we just saw now, is a supervised, where you know what you are trying to predict. Actually, it is there, right? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So supervised machine learning algorithm is where you know what we are trying to predict, where you have a y variable. Okay. And unsupervised is where you don't have a y variable. So like in past data set, what I show you, there were two blue, columns which I'm trying to predict. And, it's like a teacher who's guiding us the model during the learning process, right? Okay. And it is called, labeled data. You have labeled data where the desired output is known and you are trying to predict that output. You also have unsupervised learning algorithm, right? So for example, there might be cases where you don't know where, as I'm sure as chartered accountants in your practices or in your, professional roles, you have come up with tons and rows of, this data where you don't know, what is this data about, right? So there, you don't know the label, right? Whether this loan is approved or not, or what interest rate was there. So from the past example, if you take out loan was approved or not, if you're just trying to label that and trying to find the patterns within that, right? So that is called unsupervised learning algorithms, right? Yeah. So, so that is how the flow chart works. So like whether your data has responses, if you see in the middle, right? If yes, it has responses, you follow supervised supervised learning branch of ML. And whether if it's a regression where you're trying to predict, right, a continuous variable, right, you go to regression. Okay. If it's a classification, you go to classification side. On the classification side, you have, decision trees, logistic regression. On the regression side, you have, your linear regression, which we all of us are doing from ages, and you also can convert decision tree to regression problem. Where your data does not have does not have responses, there you do clustering, right? And there can be multiple types of clustering. Hierarchy. If there is a hierarchy in your data, you do hierarchical clustering. And if your data has, let's say, 200 columns, and you want to simplify that data, you do things like dimensionality reduction, where your algorithm identifies, out of those 200 columns, how are different columns related, and you can still get the same amount of knowledge in these let's say 20 columns instead of 200 columns. Okay. Right. I think, with this, I would straight away jump into, one use case, the same use case which I was discussing, right? Can you see my screen? I have opened GPT. Okay, sure. So what I have done, I am a GPT Plus subscriber. Okay. And when you get a GPT Plus subscription, okay, you select GPT and advanced data analysis module, which is in beta. And you can, so I have selected it, as you can see from the tick. Okay. There are different plugins which also I will explore. Okay. And then what I will do is that you can upload your attached files and ask this GPT to do analysis on this file. Okay. So I'm going to take this example, right? So what I have done is that I have downloaded this file, and this file is called loan approval dataset. And, I have also, to save time, that I have also, the prompts for it, which I will share later, right? Okay. So let me upload this file. So this file was called, loan approval dataset, right? So it's loading, okay? And let me just copy the prompt which I want to do, right? So before doing that, right? So let me ask about it. Yeah. So that's the beauty of it, right? So you can enter your own prompt and talk to this like your assistant, right? And says that you tell whatever your understanding of data set is, right? So I'm just telling it about, has independent features such as age, number of years of job, right? So I'm going through the life cycle. What I talked about here is doing exploratory data analysis, right? Let's see how it goes. So first it loads the data set to understand the structure. Then it proceeds with doing some EDA to gain insights from the data, right? And so actually it's, see, so did you see that, I did not give in the prompt, right? I only mentioned 3 columns: age, number of years of job, own house, etc. It understood from itself the existing debt, loan amount requested, right? So the interest rate offered. So basically, it is helping me, right? That the interest rate offered column has 2632 missing values. This likely corresponds to the applicants who were denied a loan, as they wouldn't have an interest rate offered. So did you see that this intelligence, it is able to do in its own? It's able to come up with the summary statistics, right? The applicant's age range from 20 to 64 years with an average age of 42 years. Monthly income ranges from $2,001 to $9,992 with the average income of 5,995. Employment year, existing score, credit score ranges from 300 to 850 with a median score of 582. Number of dependent ranges from 0 to 4. What's the average amount of loan requested, and what's the median rate of requested? You can also see that it has made these graphs, right? Okay, and here are some observation, right? So you can see that age distribution is relatively uniform in between, right? Now you can see that next I'll examine the distribution of categorical variable, home ownership and loan approval, right? A large number of applicants have mortgages, followed by those who rent. A smaller, here are some observations. So it is saying that, that a lot of these people have been denied loans, right? While a smaller proportion have been approved. See, what is this? So you see this, that, so this box plot, I hope everyone understand. So this shows a range of, people who have been applied, who have been denied and approved loans, and their statistics. As you can see that the loan has been denied for the people where loan has been denied, their median, kind of credit score was 550, and the loan where it was approved, their median score was 750, right? So as you can see that, so the people with a higher credit score are, so people, who got loan approved had a higher credit score, which makes a intuitive sense, right? You can see that, there are three type of people, right? So now it is giving, for this, etc., etc., right? Let me. So I've got a network error. So let me stop at this, right? So you can see that, how you can, so the EDA gives you insights which helps you in understanding the data set, right? Okay. Now let me directly build a model and ask this to, so now I'm building a decision tree model. Okay. How does a decision tree work? Let me ask this to build a decision tree, right? And then in the meantime, explain to you what is a decision tree. Okay. Right. I hope everyone got what I did, okay, with the loan data set. Okay. So what is a decision tree? So decision tree is, how you like to take decisions. For example, so this is again mimicking how humans think. So for example, I know, so the equivalent of that, this is CIBIL score, right? So you might be, some of you might be knowing, like, if CIBIL score is below 650, right? You reject a loan, and if CIBIL score is above 650, you accept a loan. So that becomes my first decision point. Then other things, then you come to other things, right? After decision tree, right? So basically, if my first decision point is CIBIL score, right? So if it is less than 650, it directly goes to reject. If it is above 650, you consider other aspect, such as what is the age of this guy, how many years of service remaining, how many dependents he has. So that is how, so what you follow as a manual or a process, right? Machine does that. And the beauty about it is that you don't need, machine discovers this decision tree, what gives the best pattern and best outcome by itself. So basically, it's like you have been transferred to a bank branch, you have been given their past data, okay, and you have been given their past data, where they have given that who was approved a loan, who was not approved a loan, and now you have to deconstruct the logic. So there, GPT is your friend, okay, and it's trying to, so now, it's trying to deconstruct that logic or reconstruct that logic, which was followed by your previous branch manager, or, whoever the credit officer was, right? So let's see. See, these are the outputs. See, while we were doing, all this explanation, it has come up with the, the steps. So first it loaded the data, it did initial exploration, it divided the data into pre-processing, and it came up with the feature importance, right? And what you can also do is that you can also see this code, right? So what are the steps it has taken? So those of you who know a little bit about Python and machine learning, so it is doing, pd.read CSV. It is just reading that CSV, and it is df.head. It means that it's df is a data frame. So it initializes this data frame and it's showing top 5 values of this. Okay. So then it goes to, so let's process, right? So now it has done different kind of, analysis, like it has done a logistic regression, it has done a decision tree, it has done a random forest classifier, and it has done a XGBoost. And as you can see that it has, what is the precision of it and what's the accuracy of it, right? So, so precision, accuracy are, two terms, right? So which are helpful to understand, how much how much reliable your model is, and higher the both precision and accuracy numbers, higher is your machine learning algorithm. I'll not go into details about it. So basically, so like you are trying to minimize. So depending upon what's your use case are, you are either trying to minimize the false positives, right? Or you're trying to avoid the true negatives, right? Okay. And you can see that, here are the, so this is the decision tree which it has made. Okay. So let me save this image. And let me open it. And let's see what does it say. So as you can see, so before that image opens, so what are the three most important parameters, right? So credit score, existing debt, and income are the three most important parameters in deciding whether a loan was granted or not. And we can actually see that. So in this case, right, it has, it has, so there is another important parameter called Gini score. Okay. So Gini score mentions how much pure or impure a node is. So by purity is, I mean that whether it is able to, identify that class correctly or not. So few legends of this decision tree, right, is that all the blue nodes represent denied. Okay. And all the, all the orange node have approved. Okay. And the way you use Gini score is that lower the Gini score, more pure is the node. And what do you mean by that is basically, so you are able to come up with a logic where, you are able to say that, if you follow this logic, you will 100% all get all the approved, people from the past. Or if you follow this logic, you will get all the denied people in the past, right? Okay. So as you can see, that most important feature in this, it has used decision tree is the existing debt. So for example, and you can see that, so we said that lower the Gini score, right, better it is. So let's see at each node, try to see the Gini scores, right? So I'm able to get a node which has a Gini score of 0. Okay. So in that, you can see that if your existing debt is, less than, less than, what, 4,500, and if your credit score is less than, 600, you get all people who are denied the loan. Okay. So basically this is one of the rules which is there, right? And so applicants, this feature has the highest bond, indicating that an applicant credit score plays a pivotal role in determining home loan approval. Existing debt, this is the second most important feature. Applicant with a higher existing debt may be viewed as riskier. Income is also a significant determinant, as it can indicate an applicant's capability to repay the loan, right? So actually, so one, one algorithm and few prompts, just see, I was able to do, let's see how many rows that data set has. That data set had around 3,000, rows. And with this one prompt, I'm able to come up with a set of rules which which help me to identify or deconstruct the rule. So it say that credit score is, so you could have, this is just a simple example. You could have done this from the viewing itself, right? But imagine where you have 100 such columns and you want to do this, how GPT can help you with doing this machine learning based analysis, right? Okay. Let me ask. Let's try to, while it's working, let's try to get a, regression on it. I see a few questions. Yes, Karthik. So Karthik, EDA means exploratory data analysis. And yes, ChatGPT can also do, processing numbers, what we are showing. So it can work upon ChatGPT plus, right? Yes, Pooja will get the presentation. Yeah. So basically you can see that, the correlation with the bar plot illustrate the correlation for each independent feature. So at see that credit score, this shows a strong positive loan correlation with the loan approval. As the credit score increases, the likelihood of loan approval also increases. Income, there is a positive correlation suggesting that the higher income levels might be associated. Age and employment, slight positive correlation, number of house ownership, etc. Right. So I think so this same thing we are going to do with account receivable. So let me do this with interest rate prediction, where it's a regression analysis. So there my prompt is going to be perform regression analysis and consider interest rate as output, use different models and find R square from all. Finally, okay, let's see that how does regression interest rate performs, right? So for interest rate, which is a regression problem, I'm using a separate parameter to test it accuracy, which is called R square. And what do I mean by R square is that how much variation in my independent variables explains my dependent variable, right? So it's going to do the same thing again. Okay. And it's going to try multiple machine learning techniques such as linear regression, decision tree regression, etc. Is there any more? Yeah, Sagar, I would say that Python is the most, most widely used language. Gitesh, Chat GPT does not do that. GPT Plus does that. Okay, it's a paid version of Chat GPT, and you are uploading the data in the Excel and it is giving you recommendation. And one word of caution, right? That don't upload your client data into it. Just anonymize it, right? Because see, whatever you're doing through your this, your public login. Okay, it's going to GPT, OpenAI, right? And so don't upload your client data. If you want to do the analysis on your this, do in your organization, right? You can take OpenAI's API, and using those API, you can do that. So now you can see that, it has done the same thing. So just these 3 lines of prompt: perform regression analysis and consider interest rate as output. It has showed me, it has worked on multiple algorithm, and linear regression works the best. It has R square of 96%, right? And there again, the credit score stands out, the most important feature. This suggests that interest rate offered is heavily influenced by the income applicant's credit score. Applicant's income is the second most important feature. Higher income might lead to better loan terms, including a lower rate terms, right? Yeah. So it is from this analysis, credit score standout is the most important feature, right? Can you show the equation, right? So what should I ask? Can you show the based upon above analysis? So let's ask this. I have not done this. I'm doing this for the first time. So it is telling you what multiple linear regression is, right? It is teaching us about, what linear regression is. See, this equation has come out, right? So for example, y is equal to 13.92 plus age. So plus some variable into, plus some value into age, because as your age increases, your rate increases, plus income, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? So basically, as your income increases, it's showing that interest rate increases. Okay. But plus existing, plus something into existing debt, which is intuitive, like as your debt increases, existing debt increases, rate increases, minus 0.01 into credit score. So which is, if you see the, so higher credit score leads to lower interest rate. Okay. So if you see that the coefficients for each of the variable, right, the highest coefficient is with the credit score. It says that. So basically, this you could have done in Excel too. Oh, I'm sorry. I just logged out by mistake. Let's see if I can go to my previous session. This one. I had not named this session, or this one. Yeah. Sure. See, it exactly went to that place, right? Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, this you could have done in Excel as well, right? But I mean, this can build upon multiple equation types, and as you can see that the Excel wouldn't have been able to build with random forest and gradient boosting and decision tree. So what I'll just briefly touch upon what are random forest and gradient boosting is, which are a type of a decision tree, right? Okay. I hope whatever I showed to you till now is making sense and is kind of intuitive, and most importantly, you will be able to replicate it. If I can, somehow see, yeah, some kind of thumbs up or yeah. So Gitesh, to answer, what you can do is that to show to your client, you can take, you can take these outputs, put this in presentation and show it to your client, right? See, and Gitesh, most important part is to understand how this is being modeled and how this is, that's the most important part, right? Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah, okay. I'll stick to examples, right? So, next example, which I was trying to, which I was showing, is a loan, is a account receivable data set, which is a similar kind of a problem. But before that, let me come to a time series. I hope every one of you understand what a time series is. If not, so time series is nothing but, how with time your particular data set is changing. This can be anything. This can be your sales of a store. This can be, like tax collected by government, GST tax, which keeps on increasing, right? And you guys have a, a lot of important role to play into that, right? And within that GST as well, there are components. There is a trend component which is, going up, as well as there are seasonality component, right? And the seasonality component is that there are few months which are consumption months, such as my festival, right? Diwali, etc., where a lot of consumption happens and there's a lot of GST collected, right? And as well as there are some kind of cycles, right? Because and the cycles are your all of you know that on a bigger time frame, right? Yeah. So this is your time series where you have so if this is my data, right? If this is my data, the red line, and actually red line is the normalized part. If my blue line is my data, right? Red line is somehow, that being smoother, right? As you can see that there are three things which are happening. One is the trend, okay. Another one is a seasonality, which is like going up and down. And third one is the cycles. So cycles play on long term, right? So there are, year 3 to 5, year 3 to 6, it was kind of a down cycle. Then year 9 to 12, again down cycle. Year 1 to 3, it is up cycle. Year 6 to 9, it is up cycle. And there are seasonality which happen with the month, right? So that is what we are not going to depth into, like ARIMA, which is auto regressive, and SARIMA, right? Which is seasonality differentiating plus, auto regressive, moving average, etc. But what we will touch upon is that whether my trend and seasonality aspects, are they additive or multiplicative? So what do I mean by that? If my growth is happening in an additive manner or in a multiplicative manner. So this is my data set. This is so let's say that this is my data set, which is, although the dates are, old. So let's say trains were first introduced in India in January 1949 and 1960, right? So this says that, the first train between Mumbai to Delhi, let's say, was started in 1949, and this continued till 1960, right? And how the number of passengers has risen. I want to identify what's the trend behind it. Okay. What is happening in this time series? Okay. So let me do this. So let me upload this data. So upload this data and I tell the prompt, right? So I directly to the point here, do the time series analysis and let me know everything you find out, such as trend, seasonality, you know, and as I mentioned, so as I mentioned, this can be done on any data set. This can be done on your sales. This can be done on your tax collected. This can be done on your account receivable, etc. Right? And see that it's able to identify that what is the time period, year and month, right? And it's going to decompose into, so what it has understood is that it's a year and month analysis, right? And let's find out the data. So this is how my data looked like, right? So like it started from 112 passengers and it so let me look at my data. Okay, it's not. So it started with 112 passengers, it ended at 432 passengers. So right, yeah. So let's see that so what analysis it has come up with. So there is an upward trend, right? Indicating a general increase in the number of passengers as the years progress. Then there are seasonal pattern that seem to repeat every year, suggesting a regular annual seasonality. The magnitude of seasonal fluctuation appear to increase with the trend, suggesting that the seasonality might be multiplicative in nature. So basically, if you see that so one, there is a continuously increasing trend, because for a single year, if you draw the averages between different months, it's continuously going up. Okay. And see, okay. So basically, what this is done is that this is decomposed, this into three component. One is, so this is my original, this is my trend, okay, this is my seasonality component, okay, and this is my residual. So this is while it has done an additive decomposition, and this is why it has done a multiplicative decomposition. Okay, so as you can see that while doing the multiplicative decomposition, the residual is much smaller, and it is it is kind of constant, right? So it means that the multiplicative decomposition works better, right? So it's saying that based upon the plot, the multiplicative decomposition appears to be a better fit for the data. This is evident from increasing amplitude of seasonal fluctuation in the original time, because as you go towards the right, the difference between your top and the bottom is increasing, which means that seasonality fluctuations are also increasing. That is why, so in summary, the time series data exhibits an upward trend. There is an annual seasonality, and the relationship between trend and seasonality appears to be multiplicative in nature. So now I'll ask this to get this in numbers, right? So I'm asking two things from it, right? Can you summarize this in numbers? And second thing, what I'm asking is that can you figure out what could be the reason for seasonality based upon based on the months of months of seasonality? Okay, let's see what it comes with. So let me so it is firstly it is decomposing its thought process. It is telling how it is, right, how it's going to do that. So it's saying that so whatever he has we have asked, first it has summarized this, that what its understanding of problem is, right? See this, that it has come up for the, it has identified that July has, so whatever the is indicated by the trend line, July has, if I only have a trend, right, which is continuously increasing, July still sees 22% above that trend. And it has come up for that reason is basically it could be because of summer vacation, right, and business cycle, right, because people are traveling for business, right, as well as November, there is from the trend, right, it is 0.8, like it is 20% lower from what trend suggests. And the reason for that is that people are preparing for the upcoming holiday season at their homes, okay, and the weather condition might be related to that, okay. Yeah, so basically as you can see that let me ask it to, I think it is given on the first part more, second part mode, right? Let me ask this on the first part itself, right? And this is without, so basically when I asked the previous question, that was the, it had taken the context of, trying to explain the variation, right? Yeah, so you can see that it is broken down for each month, etc., in a multiplicative manner, right? Okay. So I would so the now I would go into the text part of it, right? So like what are my applications for the generative AI application for the text part of it, okay? And there are some of these chat GPT application in banking and finance and accounting as well, which are fraud detection, loan processing, which I showed to you, right? We can also do investment advice, although it comes with disclosure, but we can come up with what we can do, like we can come up with analysis of the your customer profile and build a portfolio according to his age, etc. It can come up with virtual finance assistant. It can help in risk management and compliance, right? Yeah. So how does it do that? Very quickly, so basically, all text, which is when, so essentially LLMs or large language model power, the GPTs of the word. Okay. So you have GPT, you have Bard, right? And they convert each text into a internally a vector, right? So for example, the way it understands the language is that relationship between man and a woman is same as the relationship between queen and a king, okay? And that is how it understands. And what additional feature it has is that it also understands the context, right? Because same thing, same word can mean two different things depending upon how it is used in the sentence and where it is used in the sentence. For example, left, when it used in he left early from the party and he turned left from the hotel, mean different things. One is a denotion of time and another one is a is a direction, right? Okay. So what we are going to use this for is that we are going to use upload few call transcripts, annual reports, etc., and identify, so basically we are using it to from unstructured data to structured data analysis, right? Because this is a real use case where as a credit analyst or where as a equity research analyst, you have been asked to analyze a particular company's annual reports, etc., and give on view on it, right? And identify risk factors, etc., right? Okay. So in this case, so this is how this is going to look like, right? So for example, here I have taken two companies, right? You might not be able to see this, right? Is that so I've taken one company, right? It is FMCG company, right? Indian listed. So like identify what are the positive sentiment, like we are best franchise in the world on guest experience scores and recognized by Yum brands. One. So I think it is, I think Sapphire Foods, right, which is franchise for Yum, right? And it is a positive sentiment. And negative sentiment is that Pizza Hut also had also at 12% growth, has not done too badly. So it is able to, can you see that it is able to identify that its biggest competitor, right, grew at the same rate, and it is a kind of a negative sentiment for it, that their growth is not exceptional, or their growth is majorly in line with the industry trend, right? Okay. It can come up with the word cloud. It can it can come up, it can compare report of two companies, identify which has a more corporate risk or financial risk, etc. Again, repeating, these are not for recommendation, not any commentary on any company. This is just for education purpose, right? Okay, so let me do this straight for a company, which, let me upload a call transcript, okay, which is a MDA right? Management disclosure, right? So this is a company, right? I need to upload text, right? So I am uploading a call transcript, and what is the prompt for this? Let me open this to give you a view of what exactly this is. So this is a company whose 2017 May 22nd May 2017 management disclosure and analysis section of the annual report I have uploaded in a text format. And now let me give this a prompt. Sorry. Okay, let me do this in a new chat, because it will remember the context of the previous one. Okay, that's a good point. My colleague pointed out. Yeah. Text, PPT. Yeah. So this is the prompt. So here, we have done some work on the prompt. Okay. So if you can see that, so these are 4 quarterly management discussion analysis for Alanco. Can you highlight risk mentioned by management, and how do they plan to tackle it, right? Categorize risk into following categories: activity, so activity, these themes focus on the operational aspect of the company. It includes discussions about the core business operations, demand or product. Evaluative, these themes pertains to assessment of the company's performance and effectiveness. It encompasses discussion about how efficient and effective the company's operations are. Then management, right? So basically internal management and control mechanism, and which covers topic around internal initiative governance practices. Then performance, which is more about, financial performance, and strategic risk and outlook, right? Also code. So this is a, fairly evolved prompt, okay, which we are going to run on 4 quarterly management discussions, and let's see that what it is able to come out. So as you can see that, there's a some amount of work which has happened behind designing these, but these prompts you can change yourself as well, right? And what we have given, so all of this, whatever we are giving, see, remember, as I said, that all algorithms are, garbage in, garbage out. So more context you provide to that algorithm, better data you provide, better prompts you provide, in order to achieve the task, right? More helpful it is, right? So basically, and this prompt can change depending upon your organization or your use case, right? So basically, if you are an equity research analyst, your focus will be more on the growth prospects, the earning prospect. If you are, a credit analyst, your prospects, will be more focused upon the how it's able to convert, revenue into cash flows, or their ability to service debt, etc. Although there will be a lot of overlap, but let's see that what this comes up with. And one more thing, right, as a piece of advice, like this is a very creative, kind of algorithms, right? They can hallucinate at certain times. So don't depend upon these output as such. Validate these output, right? And if you want to do this, in your organization, there is another framework to do this, right? I mean, if you want to expose this to data set which are your organization specific, we'll tell you another setup which has more IT technology knowledge required and functioning required, where you set up something called RAGs, which are retrieval augmented generation. We'll talk about that later. It's coming to this task. So let's see what it is doing. So firstly, it has read the content of this file. It has identified the risk mentioned in this. So it has basically tokenized the content and into sentences, analyzed each sentence to identify the theme and code the identified trees. So instead of using NLTK, right? NLTK is natural language toolkit. It is how machines drive the natural language. See this. So based upon provided major keywords, I have categorized the sentences in their respective themes. Here is a summary of identifying risk and strategies discussed by the management under discussed. So basically, for activity, water deliveries have been negatively impacted by falling market prices of oil and gas, which significantly reduced drilling activities and fracking in the region, and temporary closing of many of producing oil and gas. And the strategies companies continuing to analyze option to monetize current and future operation of Deer Creek, including a potential set. Management on ongoing basis, we evaluate our estimate and assumption concerning the estimated fair value of stock-based compensation and detachable warrants. Outlook, the capacity of Indian Mesa is dependent on its type of development. I think Indian Mesa is a type of product. Company has since terminated the business development activities related to behavioral, has no plan equation in this market. Let me, can you summarize your... One thing to note is that let's see, so it is so it has come up with a significant decrease in the net revenue was observed. The net revenues reported for significant quarter were 95% compared to the same quarter previous year. There is a concern about availability of equity adequate fund. If adequate funds are not available, going concern, etc., there are no guarantees, right? So as you can see that it is the answer which has come out might not be perfect, but it has guided us in the direction where it is kind of summarized, right? And it is more, so here it is more talking about, the findings indicate while the company's financial statement have been prepared according to acceptable standard, there are significant concern about the company's financial health and its ability to continue operations. The sharp decline in net revenue and concern about the availability of adequate fund raise flags. Furthermore, the concern expressed by a company's independent auditor about the company's ability to continue as a going concern are particularly alarming. And by the way, this company became bankrupt 3 months later. Okay. So as you can see that, this analysis of MDA, without going into in depth, you would have able to come up with that this company would turn bankrupt and what are the points around it. Okay. So just a time check, I have 10 more minutes of content where I'll compare about, two Indian companies, whether it's okay or should I open for questions, Piyush ji, Arpit ji. Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So should I, continue for 10 more minutes and then ask for questions, or should I stop here?
चलेगा sir. Continue.
Okay. Thank you very much. अच्छा जा रहा है? Okay. So let me take two Indian companies again. Please no advice, no nothing. Right? Let me open a new chart. Okay. In this chart, I can upload two reports, right? Okay. So let me upload two reports simultaneously. Okay. So Sapphire, Jubilant and Sapphire, right? So actually, 1 second. Let me delete this report. So these are two companies belonging the same sector, and let's see iska prompt docs mein. Okay. Yeah. So here again, a lot of work has gone into, right? So basically, I'm doing a comparative analysis between two companies, right? And coming up with some kind of a visualization. Okay. Okay. So let me, do one by one. So here I'm asking, so these are two earning call transcript and categorize risk into political, climate, corporate, financial risk, and do a comparative analysis. So what I did for one company in the past, I'm doing it comparing two companies. So it's again doing the same process. And what I want to do over here is that explanatory narrative highlighting key points and concerns related to risk, frequency graph, how often the risk is mentioned, position graph where it is mentioned, right? So basically, Jubilant Food transcript has 62,400 characters. Sapphire Food has 56,000 characters. And, this. In the earlier one, I had to give the keywords, but here it has identified the keywords itself. So political risk are things like government, regulation, policy, election, sanction. Climate are things like climate, weather, natural disaster, environmental. Corporate are management strategy. Financial are debt, revenue, profit, loss, interest rate. So now it is identifying the relevant portion of the text where it is doing it. So first it is doing the analysis for Jubilant. So Jubilant political risk is, 5 times, corporate risk is, 6 times, Sapphire corporate risk is more times, right? So it's going to, I think there's some error in the response because we have been using this for a lot continuously, it shows that also getting tired. Yeah, so basically while the outcome loads, the kind of outcome we can expect is right, this kind of outcome, right? It's like kiska corporate risk zyada hai. So for example, Sapphire versus we did this for some other company, right? Sapphire ne kitna times risk mention kiya, climate kisne mention kiya. So basically you can see that food life has more political risk, right? Whereas Sapphire has low political risk but high corporate risk. It can be due to the management style, or it can be due to the industry as well. Like Sapphire, so for example, food life has some ingredient which has a lot of regulatory control over it. So for example, food life ke raw material mein sugar hai, which is highly regulated, right? Compared to Sapphire does not have sugar, or Sapphire has built its own supply chain. Sapphire ka khud ka sugar plant hai, right? So where transcript में कौन सी जगह पे वो मेंशन किया है, ये आउटपुट आता है, एंड क्या वर्ड क्लाउड्स है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल पॉलिटिकल रिस्क के क्या वर्ड क्लाउड है, गवर्नमेंट है, इंटरवेंशन है, प्रिजन है, एंड सेंटिमेंट एनालिसिस ओवर द कॉल. सो कॉल के ट्रांसक्रिप्ट में है हाउ डिड द सेंटिमेंट गो. So for example, like it was majorly positive, but it went negative 3 times. So मेरे पास बहुत बड़ा, if I have a very big transcript and I want to only see about where it talks about negative, I can straight away go to this number of character, right? Yeah. So proportionality analysis, right? कि कितना, so basically this company has 80% corporate risk, only 2% political risk, and 2% climate risk. So basically now the thing is that so how can this analysis help me? Like if I like the management, if I like what they're doing, if I like the business they are in, if I like their products are like, there is a very less climate and a government risk over here. So, I mean, just an example, take a company like Pidilite, right, which has a product such as Fevicol, right? So it has a very low political risk, right? It is more to do with how they are executing versus a company, let's say, which is into telecom, or a company which is into, let's say, sugar, right? Or airlines, right? So this kind of analysis, right? And within the sector as well, I can do, as I mentioned, that how that company has, diversified its risk. So apologies, guys, it's failing. Okay. So I think, so I would begin in a new chat, and I'll give you the last use case or the last example. Okay. Where, so what I've done is that, so this is something else. This is outside of generative AI, right? Many of you might be knowing, and, if not, right? So Google Sheets, right, have a function of Google Finance, which can give you stock prices for index or stocks, right? Okay. So for example, if I want to get the market cap, so in this sheet, I have a cell A2, which is, NSE Reliance or NSE TCS, right? So basically I have set up, right, what's the market cap of this in crores divided by 10 raised to power 7. What's its current price is basically, for this A2, give me the price. What's 52-week high, right? High 52. What was the price 1 week before is basically today minus 7 day, right? And since it's an array, you want 2,2. And you can see the performance of how the stock has performed in 1 year, 6 month, 3 month, monthly. And similarly, you can do for different Nifty indices, right? So you can do for Nifty 50, you can do for Nifty metal, and all of this get refreshed, right, on a live basis. Okay. So what I've done is that I've downloaded all of this data, right, in a Excel, and I'm going to upload that Excel, right? So when I downloaded, I have copy pasted values, right? And I have identified whether it's stock or an index. So let me do the analysis on this, right? it's a new chart. Let me do the analysis of this. Stock list and index. This is the Excel sheet. So let me see if this figure out. So what is the prompt for this? So it's going to come up with a, so basically it has also benchmark indices, right? So this prompt is not very evolved, but as you can see that, let me give this and let's see that what the answer is, right? So this is last thing which I wanted to present. Only one thing, like if you, so this you can do individually, and one piece of advice, it kind of hallucinates at times. So it is very good in direction, right? Understanding things, right? Okay. But before producing it for client, etc., just review the output once. Okay. And second thing, don't upload your client data on it, confidential, mask it, rename it, redact it. And third thing, if you want to upload your confidential data, or if you want to incorporate your organization's data or your organization data strategy into it, whatever is available through the front end is available through a API, and you can make your IT team can make a product around it, leveraging that chat GPT's provider OpenAI's API, and that thing is called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation, where you take OpenAI's API, you work on your internal company's database in a secured environment. Okay. You let the user ask the question that, then there is a framework called LangChain, which finds out what is the relevant data set from your company's database, and then within that context answers that question. From those set of documents, it answers those questions. Okay. And this method is more safe and secure if you are looking to implement OpenAI, OpenGPT in your organization level, because it is constrained to your database. It will not hallucinate, it will not give answers outside of those documents. It will, and also you can upload your documents securely into this, because in OpenAI's API terms and condition, it says that it will not use those data set to train its algorithm, and it is within your company's premises. Okay, right? And this you can do with your company's IT help. And we as a company also implement this for many organizations. We are working with many organizations. So I as a person, or we as a company, will be be willing to discuss and help about how you can implement this, right? So this has come up with this performance, right? So as you can see that 1 year performance, BSC, PSU Bank, then PSC, right? Power has not been good, etc., etc. We can go into on a yearly basis. Nifty, PSU Bank has performed well. BSE Power, Nifty Reality as the highest performer, right? BSE 3 month, who has in 3 months who has performed negative, etc. And this provides you a visual, this one. So you can see that, you can come up with reports like equity research analyst just using two tools, right, which are public for you. So this is Google Finance, where you can set up and get all this data, and then you can upload this data on, chat GPT, and sorry, let me get this straight, and come up with these kind of interesting visualization and graph. You can do more in-depth return on more in-depth kind of research on it, like which companies has outperformed their benchmark, how much below their 52-week high they are, etc., what's their price to earning ratio, etc., and all of this is available openly, freely through Google Finance, right? Yeah. So that's it from my side for today. I hope all of you liked it, and most important thing, all of you feel confident that now you can go back and implement these things in your regular day-to-day work, your individual practice, or at your corporates. Open to questions. Let me answer these questions. Right, I will share the I'll share these prompts. How to make the prompts precise. It's through practice. Second, there are many prompt guidelines, and one more thing, right? So I'll share a few resources, right? So for example, you can go to Kaggle, and there is a source called ARXIV, where they publish a lot of publications, right, on so basically I would say that so there is a source called ARXIV, where on there are, you can search on the publication, let's say corporate risk and GPT, right? So it will come up, so for example, risk and GPT, risk management. So for example, put your money where your mouth is, evaluating strategic planning and execution of LLM execution, right? So if I make it more accurate, I can see that financial risk and GPT. Yeah, so basically let's put, so I think, so these are few sources where there are recent publications. So there is one on corporate risk and GPT, which we kind of showed to you, but this is one source where there are a lot of publication. Then there is another data set if you want to start your machine learning journey, right, which is called Kaggle. And in Kaggle, you have hundreds and thousands of data set. So let's say you want to identify something on bankruptcy. So there is a existing data set on company bankruptcy prediction, right? So where you can see the code, and this will have data set somewhere, right? Where? Yeah. So basically this is explaining about the data, and you can see that this is 95 columns liability, and this would be and actually you can download this data as well. All of this data you can download, and you can, if you know Python, you can work on Jupyter Notebook, etc. But you can work, now you know that this works on GPT plus, you can work on that, etc. So on Kaggle, you can find a lot of these fraud, let's say fraud detection, credit card fraud, dealing with imbalance, predicting fraud with TensorFlow, credit card fraud detections, right? So there are this is credit card fraud detection. 4,000 people have provided their kind of notebooks, and you can filter it by most votes, right, which is the most popular. So this guy has provided So if you look into it, you can see the exact code, etc., everything. So these are few of the resources which are available to public. Yeah, Alok, very good question. So the question which you asked, whether this will work on audio file, right? So this is called multimodal, right? So where your algorithm works on different modes. So I'm not aware if it is multimodal yet, but what you can do is that there are many online transcriptors where you upload your audio file, it will convert into transcript and then it will work on it. But it will soon work on the this audio file as well. So Sagar, your question, share more insight on how to validate ChatGPT response on prompts regarding analytics. Yeah. So basically, see, Sagar, if I get your question correctly, you want to see that whether the prompts are correct or not, or ChatGPT response is correct. I think you have to see that, whether whatever outcome is coming, whether that makes sense from the business point of view, your experience point of view, explanations which are coming are intuitive. And, sometimes it can come up with a non-intuitive insight as well. And I would say that if you're doing this, do it 3-4 times, right? And see that whether the outputs are consistent or not, right? Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, if you have noted, so this also gives you the code for it, right? So like if any of you is novice, right? You can, if any of you know Python, sorry. So you can take this data and copy this into your Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is a tool to write Python programming language. This will work. So you can become a data scientist yourself by using the code from here. Is there any tool to generate precise prompt? That's a very good question. Yeah, I think there is a need for it, but that comes with a practice. And what? So actually, 2 days before, I read a paper where Google mentioned that giving a prompt like take deep breaths and think slowly increase the precision of the answer. And I'm not joking. There is a publication on it. I'll show you that publication. So it is, so keep reading about these publication. Let me show you that. So I think it is yes. So I'm able to figure out that publication. Okay. Yeah. The researcher discovered that prompt take a deep breath and work on this problem step by step was most effective with Google's Palm to language model. This phrase reached the highest accuracy score of 80%, right? When tested against a data set of grade school math word problem. Google DeepMind, being more human to AI, makes it perform better, right? Yeah. So actually, so my answer to very good question is that it all comes through practice, and you have to see that how you would have gone ahead with this, how you would have solved this problem yourself, and try to replicate the same through the tool and in the prompt, right? Yeah, we'll share these prompt with everyone. Yeah. So if there are no further questions, you guys can add me on LinkedIn. I'm that's my LinkedIn page. Yeah, so that's my LinkedIn page, LinkedIn profile. You guys can add me, Nitish Jain CFA, and will be happy to extend my network with this such esteemed fraternity of chartered accountants.
Hello, are you done, sir, or you want to address
Yes,
some more?
sorry, I took some time more. Sorry.
No, it is fruitful to listen to you, sir. So you can, if you want to add some more, that's fine. I mean,
No, so that's it. So I think there's a lot of things to digest. I'll leave the, you guys can reach out to me in the contest. The participants can reach out to me through any forum, my email or LinkedIn.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Your session has been very fruitful for everyone, like all the technologies, all the new websites. In fact, details for those websites, some of them, those are, even I have seen for the first time. So that's very fruitful. So my name is Yogesh Bandari, and I'm here to give you a word of thanks. And so I, on behalf of all the participants, wanted to express.
Yogesh,
Yeah.
before
Okay,
you
sorry.
Brandon,
I
thank you, Yogesh, for being around. Nitesh bhai, beautiful,
Yes.
amazing session.
Thank you very
And
much.
someone who's actually sitting and live, he's performing and sharing all these prompts. I think phenomenal, really phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
Thankful to you. I think the kind of small little things that you've mentioned, I think, perhaps we've been only hearing about it. वो कहते हैं ना, दुनिया पूरा का पूरा सब जादू है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी, नहीं तो सोना है. तो आपने literally जो चीजें बताई है, I think now that people would know all of these, they'll be able to. I want to appeal everyone, all the people who have participated over here, please go and immediately try it out. नहीं तो ये भूल जाओगे आप. It will go out of your mind again.
So, एक तो GPT plus है sir. Then there is another tool called Chat PDF, which is, so GPT plus is a paid subscription. There are many tools which allow you to do, upload PDF free of cost and do converse with that. So that tool is called Chat PDF. Okay. So I'll send a list of these tools where people can, अपना journey continue रख सकता है. Some of these are paid, some of these are free, right? So I'll try to give them as best as my possible.
Great. I mean, it's an ocean full of, it's an ocean of, prompts and whatnot. And from there, I think handful of buckets of real pearls that you've given, you shared to all of us. As a chairman of WIRC, really, I feel overwhelmed when chartered accountants are gearing up, when chartered accountants are really listening to it. And believe me, at WIRC, all our emails, everything, each one of our staff is trying to gear up with ChatGPT and get the best of these. So I think all of this that you've shared today, all of us here are also trying to set this up. And I'm sure all the members, whoever were there today, will try and set this up. Friends, we are doing all of these. There's so many things that we've created on Tech Edge. I think a lot of value that can be created. But one thing I would want to request all of you is, please go and talk about this to someone. Only then you will be able to retain it, or only then you will be able to explain it to yourself. If you just listen to Nitesh ji and then you just think that it will come to you, it won't happen that way. You will have to hear about it, share it, and then probably you'll be able to understand yourself. And the best way is, the iterations, the more and more iterations that you do, the more and more learning you will develop. Recently, I just came across a wonderful AI use to brand existing soft drinks can with Indian monuments. So for Delhi, it could be different. For Mumbai, it could be different. It's a wonderful thing. I would, if I get a chance, I'll share it with all of you. But believe me, the kind of possibilities that the AI unfolds for all of us is massive. So thanks, Nitesh ji, once again. Yes.
My whole intention and agenda of this call is to demystify, de-jargonify the AI का जो वो है कि AI का जो वो है AI, LLM, GPT. It is, I'm saying, as a chartered accountant, and I come, that I come from the same background, being CFA, FRM, right? And worked under, CA managers, right? for a large part of my life, right? So my aim was to make this technology as human as possible and say that कि आपको बस analysis आना चाहिए. You must know your domain, you must know your number, you must know what you're trying to solve for, and then you don't need to write the code. And I'm sure if any CA wants to write the code, they can do better job than us engineers as well. But my aim was to, in this world, the technology has been so much democratized that all you need is inquisitiveness, understanding of your data, domain expertise, which you have in abundance, and third and most important thing is that willpower, wo hesitation jana. And I'm sure that if all of you go ahead and do ek do use cases, this session will be very fruitful.
In fact, I would be happy if any of you would want to come down to WIRC. We could set up a physical session with Nitish ji also.
Sure, sure.
Probably you can get the best out of this. You can actually learn while you actually implement, while you actually work on it. So, we can set that up for you. For all the questions that have come in, let me tell you, of course, the time is less and, there's so many things that we could do. But I think the way, in the simplistic manner that he has put it up for all of us, really, Nitish ji, huge round of applause for you. Thank you very much for setting this up. You can see, the feedback has been really, really fantastic, very encouraging.
And
share the site that you suggested. Yeah.
One last thing, I was helped by my team members. Harsh, he's a commerce graduate himself. Pratham, he is a commerce graduate, and then Abhijit, who again is an engineer like me from IIT Bombay. So it was a combination of commerce graduate and engineers trying to demystify things.
Can you unblur your background, and so all of you four can come in one background?
Sure,
so we can have a good photograph right now. Mishra ji, please take a screenshot when these people come together. All of you four can come in the background. Yes, someone can stand behind. All right, thank you guys. I think that dream team, when team works, dream works. So thank you, all of you, for setting this up. I must really congratulate and thank Dinesh Tejwani ji for suggesting Nitish Jain as a speaker and the entire team. Guys, individually do try and work around, because I think LinkedIn pe sab connect honge, sab kuch honge. So if you can send a mail, Nitish bhai, with all of your LinkedIn connects,
sure.
And also you can send us the emails, the websites and the different prompts that you said.
I will
share it with all the participants. They'll be happy to connect with you, and we look forward to invite you at WIRC very soon.
Sure.
Come down to Bangalore. We'll have all our participants and they can interact with you, probably learn coding, learn prompts and everything in a very, very intricate manner and interactive manner.
Sure,
that'll be great.
Thank you. It was a
So
pleasure.
thank you very much, and have a good time. I'm sure as engineers you'll have much more to do now. Late hours in the office. Commerce graduate, आपको तो undoubtedly काम करना ही पड़ेगा बहुत सारा.
नहीं सर, वो कॉमर्स ग्रेजुएट को काम करना पड़े, इसी के लिए हमने आज का सेशन चला.
Doubtful है. This is the best part. Yes, you have empowered commerce graduates and chartered accountants to effectively reduce the time of hours. Great, super. So thank you very much. Yogesh, are you around?
Yeah.
Yogesh, let me tell you, Yogesh Bhandari has joined us. To all the members who is here, he's joined us through our My Role at WIRC, wherein we have empowered all our chartered accountants. Anyone in WIRC can come and join us at WIRC, and you can do any role that you want. You can be a speaker, you can be an MOC, you can be a coordinator. Today, Yogesh has taken that opportunity. We've reached out to him, and thank you, Yogesh, for joining us. And I'm sure it must have been a very insightful session for you. I was hooked up. Believe me, I'm sitting in my cabin and I'm working and I've got people all around me. I was hooked up for everything that you're doing. Practically, positive, and a fantastic session. Thanks, Nitish. Thanks.
Account receivables का एक वो data set रह गया, मैं वो भेजता हूँ. So try to do it as a homework.
Let us do one more session for that. Whenever you give us a time, we'll set up this one more session and we'll tell them part 2.
Arpit bhai, let's do this. आप use cases collect कीजिए, हमें सो बेसिकली आपके सीए उससे कॉर्पोरेट से इंडिविजुअल से यूज केसेस प्रॉब्लम्स कलेक्ट कीजिए, हमें भेजिए. Let's do this.
Perfect.
When
It will
we
be
are
a
in
good
the
research project for all of us. I'll be amazing, really.
yes, आप प्रॉब्लम्स इकट्ठा कीजिए. मैं एक दिन
Solution.
I will dedicate with my team, best team, to come to WIRC full day. We'll do a deep dive workshop, and जो CS के लिए जो सबसे प्रैक्टिकल वो होगा, and how we can empower, and let's think on use cases कैसे हम लोग solve कर सकते हैं, and how we can empower the CA fraternity to best use of technology. We'll do a deep dive session.
Appreciate it.
Yogesh, over to you.
Yeah. So, a very fruitful one. And yes, I believe every word spoken by Arpit sir also. So, like, it's an ocean full of thing when we talk about generative AI and leveraging machine learning. So, yes, so here I'm here to give you a word of thanks. I, on behalf of all the participants, wanted to express sincere gratitude for the presentation on leveraging machine learning and generative AI for financial analysis. So your presentation offered a lot of practical examples, case studies, in fact, websites. So these are illustrations for the real world impact. So in the closing, your presentation just brought one proverb in my mind, that knowledge is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. So your effort in sharing your expertise have certainly sowed the seeds of knowledge in our minds, and I'm committed to nurturing the newfound wisdom. So once again, thank you for your time and expertise. Your contribution to our understanding of machine learning and generative AI in financial analysis is greatly appreciated. We all hope to see you again, definitely, and very appreciative for the commitment that you have shown.
Let me tell you, he's generated this entire word of thanks on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
So thanks to you only. So I noted down all the things that you mentioned and put it in ChatGPT, and that's how the word of thanks came out.
Absolutely. That's the application of learning. Brilliant. Great, Nitish ji. See you around. There are Q&As, 10 Q&As. I think they are all case studies. What we'll try and do is we'll post them, we'll park them with us, and we'll send it to you, and we can work on that separately. Vishnu ji, सारे Q&As को please copy paste करके अपने पास generate कर लो. और let's figure out, let's do session 2 or physical एक session और कर सकते हैं. So and people who are with us, let me tell you, if you are a member of WIRC, you can get this session from our website also after some time. You'll have to log in using your credentials. You have to be a member of WIRC so that you can watch this YouTube channel. You can watch this this program on YouTube effectively. So these was, thank you. Good night. Shubh Navratri to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mishra ji, thank you. Close the session.